Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I read finally issue number two of Vampirella. It seemed like it took forever and a goddamn day for the damn second issue to come out, but it came out, and yeah. Again, I'm not familiar with all of Vampirella's comic books. I read a few, don't really know much, so I'm just kind of confused as a person who decided to, hey, let me just give Vampirella a chance. I'm thinking we're going to be dealing with like some kind her fighting some demon stuff, but no, instead we're dealing with postpartum depression. Vampirella, her son coming from the future, trying to convince her former therapist in Atlanta to like talk to her and make her give up her son. And in the future, he she creates a utopia for Earth, but at the same time um causes a international event. I don't know. And he's like he's like also admitting that he kind of R-word his girlfriend without realizing it because of his mother's abilities, because she's not a vampire in a sense, she's an alien. So he's an interspecies, not a literal vampire of the definition of what us humans think he is. He's a half human, half alien who has tendencies of his mother, and it's just a back and forth between him talking to the therapist and him showing the events of living through the events of what happened with his girlfriend and how she was talking about she was done with him because he R-word her and he said no, I would never. And then she was like, but you did. Because part of him, his lustful nature that came from his mother, he couldn't control it, and one thing led to another, and he did some stuff to her without realizing that what he was actually doing to her was wrong. Um, because he's Vampirella's son, and she was like, I want a revolution. I want the world to have freedom of speech and freedom or whatever, not live under this perfect utopia where she's always watching and stuff like that. And she was mad that he didn't tell her that he was the son of Vampirella, but he's trying to get away from his mother because he doesn't want to be like his mother. He wants to live on his own life. And she's like, but you're over 1,000 years old, you know, and you're not telling me the whole truth. And he's like, I am telling you the truth. I love you. And she was like, if you love me, then you will want to be part of the revolution because I work with people who is against everything that your mother is doing. Like, we want the world to go back to everybody having freedom of choice and not being afraid of a regime and not living under constant fear and damnation. And we're cutting and in between that we're talking to the therapist, and the therapist is like, okay, start from the beginning, and the son is explaining everything that I just explained to the therapist, and he was like, this got to be some crazy shit right here. And he's basically like, so what am I supposed to do? He's basically like, you know even though I'm not a bad guy, I've done some bad things, but seeing what the world will become, you know, Vampirella needs to give me up. And he was like, you expect me to believe that you came from the future, a perfect utopia, to stop your mother from continuing to raise you or whatever. And he's basically like, yeah. And he was like, this gotta be dumb as hell because he's not buying it. He's not buying it. He's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. Why else would I be here? You know what I mean? And I can't blame him. Like, you got you got this guy. You know, you got this guy coming from the future, and then talking about like, oh yeah, I need you to convince my mom to like give me up because if you don't give the world's gonna be destroyed, and I'm just like, what in the hell? So I mean, it's basically, you know, Vampirella can't deal with the emotional the emotional distress of postpartum depression, and she's trying to think about what she can do for her infinite son, but um we got to deal with her dealing with postpartum depression, accepting that, and then the son coming back from the future over 100 years into the future, telling the therapist that you need to figure out how to stop Vampirella. Then what was his name? What was it? Ciro is his name. The son's name is Ciro, and he's talking to Doc Charity, which is the therapist, and Vampirella. Um, Vampirella is dealing with being alone and how she has no one because the babysitter got scared off by Vampirella, and even though she tried to wipe her mind or whatever, the babysitter never returned, and then she's just dealing with him, crying, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like, no offense, they got 100 damn, you know, what's the term? Variant covers, right? And then it's who's the writer? Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing right now? I don't like for me as a person who don't really know Vampirella, right? I I don't know as a person who's trying to get into this story, why would you go with this dark, depressing thing instead of like this action pack opening for like because think about it. Like this is issue number two of a new Vampirella run. And again, this is me, somebody who's not really familiar with Vampirella that much, or that much stuff. Why would I want to read this depressing story about her dealing with postpartum depression and a bleak future with barely no action going on here? And like, I don't like, I'm tired of these stories with these heroes or the main character that I'm supposed to follow, and we're dealing with their mental issues most of the damn time instead of fucking comic book. I mean, instead of actions. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying you can have it every once in a while, but I feel like that maybe should be like in the middle of the story or whatever, you know. Um I feel like get everybody in by showing more action stuff. All this standing around and talking and standing around and talking and standing and talking and standing. Like who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? That's the shit I'm talking about. Why the fuck am I going to sit up here and continue to read this book? Not only is it fucking take forever for it to came out, then it got all of these beautiful variant covers of Vampirella. She's barely in the damn book. And then we're dealing with her ass being fucking mopey and depressed. And we're dealing with her son, Sarah, coming back from the future to stop her from raising him because she becomes a utopia crazy bitch, I guess. Who knows? Don't care. It's not interesting. It doesn't get me to be like, oh, I need to read issue number three. It honestly makes me want to drop this shit. What the fuck are we doing? I'm tired of these character development. I mean, not character development, but what these character thesis where we're trying to get into the psychology or the cyanosis of a character's mind. I don't care right now. Get me fucking interested in the character first before you start doing this shit. Because again, this is issue number one and number two of a new Vampirella run. I didn't read the previous run, so I don't know the previous run. But I'm going by this is my first time picking up a Vampirella book, and this is what I'm seeing. Why the hell would I want to continue? Why the hell should it continue past issue number five? Because honestly, at this point, issue number five need to be the last and you get Christopher Priest off. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed because I know Christopher Priest is better than this. But this is the shit I'm talking about. DC, Marvel, all of y'all do this bullshit where y'all want to do this character deep dive in depression and emotions, and where half of the book is them standing around talking instead of doing action shit. I understand sometimes you want to do slow burn. I get it. I get it. But good God. You know what I'm saying? Time and place. And it is not the time nor the place for this shit. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Did you guys read Vampirella number 2? What do you think? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.